Good morning, beautiful people, especially my ex-JWs who understand me on levels that only we can understand each other on. I'm feeling like another beach walk and talk, so please join me. The theme of today's video will be all about trauma-informed nervous system. And I might have a little bit about the broader scope of undue influence, if you want to use more layman term, the culty world we live in. And I'm not depressed because I'm on a beach in Mexico. My name is Allie, and I was a Jehovah's Witness I was born in 37 years of my life, blah, blah, blah. And I'm 45 now, enjoying my walk in Christian freedom with all the colors, including sometimes black. Or that's the absence of light. And yeah, so trauma-informed nervous system, or trauma-informed self-care. I am going to link below this time because I always say I'm going to do that and then I forget. I'm going to go back on my other videos and post some links also. Just some resources that have personally helped me a lot on my crazy walk of just trying to understand why sometimes feel like such a struggle when for other people it's not. I'm a little congested, I don't know. But yeah, let's enjoy the walk. CPTSD, complex or childhood PTSD. I think anybody, especially who is born in a cult, my cult was very doomsday, very works-based, and the relationships that you have when you're in that kind of cult can't help but only be conditional. And let's face it, a lot of relationships in the year we're living in, 2025, this generation, are conditional because I think as humans, we struggle to be with others who don't see life the way we do. And especially for someone who's born in a very black and white context, everything is either good or bad. We have to know all the answers. We're not allowed to say things like, I don't know, because when you don't know, you're not in control. And so people who maybe come from like a trauma family are more drawn or more vulnerable to groups, organizations, systems that offer that we have all the answers. So I'm gonna pause this, put my sandals down, and enjoy this walk free of the burden of sandals. Okay, vámonos. Trauma-informed care and highly sensitive people, HSP. And as I blurt out all these labels, I personally am reminding myself that these things are not my identity. They can be very useful information as we navigate our space and how we present ourselves to others and interact with ourselves and those we love and those who we want to be in relationship with. I'm a weirdo. I remember my childhood as a little Jehovah's Witness girl sitting in the Kingdom Hall flipping through my pages of my book of Bible stories, the ones that stick out to me most that I remember, the flood scene, Jezebel with her fingers and her fingernails as she's about to get thrown out of the window, Jonah being swallowed by the whale, the hailstone coming down out of the sky, killing everybody at Armageddon. Yeah, fun stuff. That was my activity book as a child. Not very age appropriate. And then you add that to the social isolation that so many of us who were raised in the 80s and 90s, at least in my family, like quote unquote worldly friendships were not allowed. Playdates with other kids from school were not allowed, unless of course you were trying to start a Bible study with them. I remember trying to start Bible studies with kids when I was 7, 8, 9. Oh my gosh, I think the parents of those kids felt sorry for me, and they're like, well, I don't even think they knew what I was trying to do to their kid. And then I would come home and tell my mom, and she would be so proud of me. I remember I was in first grade, and the next door neighbors had a little girl my same age, and I told her that she was a child of Satan. And the next thing we knew, they built up a privacy fence, and I was no longer to hang out with their child. Gee, I wonder why. I can laugh about it now and just, I know I didn't know better, but that is a setup for being a weirdo, isolated kid. And I turned to things like food, sugar, stuff like that for comfort. The rest is history. And now I'm just now I'm rebuilding myself. Part of me trying to rebuild myself or just feel better around the age of, and trust me, I'm going to get back to the whole topic of trauma-informed self-care and the pitfalls that can arise when a person becomes consumed with that. So around the age of 14, 15, I was doing some babysitting for a sister in the congregation, and she had a iridology, foot reflexology, and herb business, specifically Nature's Sunshine. And at the age of 16, I took the weekend seminar, whatever, intro to foot reflexology, and that was my entryway into massage therapy, since, college was a big no-no. And there were other sisters in the congregation who were massage therapists, because the schooling at that time in the state I live in was like 6 months if you went full-time. And I didn't want to be a full-time house cleaner. Fast forward a little bit, and in that particular community of massage therapists, then you get into the broad spectrum of energy work, body work in general, and lots of stuff. My personal opinion about some of those practices is the New Age trap. And I didn't even know that I was heavily involved in New Age while I was a Jehovah's Witness. And I maybe I'll make a video about that in the future, but now, today in 2025, I started cleaning out that closet back in like 2018, 2019. I think that you can open a lot of portals to darkness. I've listened to dozens, if not hundreds, of testimonies of people who who did open those portals to darkness, even though their intention was always to be, one of their mottos is love and light, healing, love and light. There's a lot of authors who write books that are very proud and open and saying that it was channeled. Some doors are just better left closed. That is my opinion. If you disagree, you're absolutely entitled to do that. I'm excited because now, and maybe it's been here all along, but the algorithm I'm seeing now is more scientifically based, specifically polyvagal theory. Our vagus nerve, otherwise known as like the wandering nerve, really is the thermostat of our body-mind system that, when regulated, allows us to easily flow between states of stress and then re-regulating ourselves to more prefrontal cortex origin of living life from. In other words, when we're living from our reptilian brain, we go into a stress response, primarily flight or fight, and now they've added freeze or fawn. And when I look at my life, oh my goodness, people pleasing, which is fawning, freezing, which is just being, for me, what that looks like is just completely incapacitated, laying on the couch, just trying to numb out however I can, usually with brain dead television, high sugar food, just anything to not deal with reality. And the reality of a fully indoctrinated Jehovah's Witness is a very scary place to live life from. Everybody else is worldly, they're bad, God's going to destroy them, I'm better than, self-righteousness, the ugly cycle of superiority, self-righteousness to I'm not good enough. So I attempted to regulate that with a lot of new age modalities. I spent tens and tens and tens of thousands of dollars on classes, books, sessions, and I would feel better for maybe a couple days, sometimes a week. And like work-based religions, if I wasn't quote unquote doing the work, leveling up to the next course, the next modality I was told I needed to learn, because this was gonna be the key that unlocked the combination to bliss and happiness. So if I can do anything for the listener right now, save your money. I don't know what else to say. So yeah, there's lots of really great videos. I'm not going to reinvent the wheel about polyvagal theory, doctors with far more education and more understandable vocabulary who walk you through how you can rewire and retrain your brain so that you're less triggered. Yesterday I took a magical beach walk. Right now I'm in Nueva Vallarta. And if you can see way over there where those white buildings are, I walked to Bucerias. It was like 7 miles, and I started listening to this book by Mel Robbins. She's amazing. She's super positive, really easy to listen to. I just love her. And the latest book she wrote is called Let Them. I'm only on like chapter 4 or 5, but I highly recommend it to anybody who struggles with being triggered, anybody who finds themselves living from a stress response more than they would like. So there's a tool. What else did I want to talk about? I'm just so excited about this book. Let them. In other words, if Jehovah's Witnesses are going to shun you, let them. If your mother doesn't call you on your birthday, which when I was a Jehovah's Witness, this guy, I'm going to pause this because it's really loud. He's looking for turtle nests. I think he might have found a nest. Yep. All right. Where was I? As I was saying, oh, by the way, today we are going on a whale watching cruise because in the winter months down here, the mama humpback whales have their babies and they're in a protected bay here, so the sharks can't get them. And every time we've gone on these tours, we always see whales and it never gets old. In fact, yesterday we saw whales surfacing from our table eating lunch. There were stingrays surfing in the waves real close to shore. And we even saw a baby turtle make it into the ocean. Good luck, baby turtle. Yeah. Speaking of people attempting to re-regulate, the rage now really seems to be all things quote-unquote plant medicine, psilocybin, ayahuasca. Oh, I forget what the toad venom is called and the frog venom, all that stuff. And I'm certainly not here to judge anybody who uses those things. I've used a couple of those things, but it just doesn't seem to stick for me. The times in my life, personally, when I have felt the deepest peace and acceptance and self-love and love for others is when I'm really walking with Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. So yeah, the book Let Them is really good. And spoiler alert, Let Them is just step one, because the next step after that is let me. In other words, how am I going to respond to this thing, whatever it is? Being shunned, being excluded, being ignored, being slandered. Let them. Now let me, what can I do about it? So one of the things I do about it is I blast on YouTube and I share my story. And a lot of other people do that too. We're all different. So I really do think finding a trauma-informed therapist, a trauma-informed coach is essential for those of us with CPTSD, those of us who were born, raised, and pickled in cults. And it's getting a lot better. So I'll just conclude this video that definitely just turned into a bit of a ramble with, even though there are all these things that I wish I didn't have to deal with, I'm not letting them be my identity, whether it's something like cancer, ADHD, OCD, CPTSD, all these things. I know I'm a child of God, and God's family is everybody. Some people just haven't opened and accepted their invitation for adoption yet. And I am not here to manage that journey for anybody. But it's exciting to watch it when it happens. It reminds me of like a family who files for adoption and they're waiting to get their child. And then you see on a video the moment when it happens. I think that's the time we're living in right now. People are opening the envelope, whether it's because they read something in the Bible or because they had a vision or a real experience with the living God, the creator of this. I love seeing those moments. So that's my video for today. Shalom, be well, good health, good mental health to all of you. Ciao.